Hello and welcome to Girls for Greatness. I am your host, Delia Perry, and I am on a mission to help you rock a life empowered by your own greatness. This show features the incredible stories of women who have overcome their own struggles in order to find triumphant success. It is my hope that their stories will inspire and motivate you to do whatever it takes to live the life you really and truly were meant to live.
Hello, my dear friends and amazing human beings. You are listening to the Girls for Greatness podcast. This is your host, Delia Perry, and you are listening to episode number 171 with Christina Woods. I am so excited to have Christina joining me today as we dive into a conversation about our subconscious mind and how programming can affect our everyday lives. Christina is the CEO and founder of Wise Woods Hypnotherapy and Coaching. She has extensive experience working on complex challenges and pulling potential out of others so they can become self-reliant individuals. Christina is a licensed transformational therapist, certified hypnotherapist, empowerment coach, and Reiki master. Christina combines her background in corporate leadership along with her experiences in dealing with trauma and abandonment to empower other women to trust their intuition and set themselves free of self-doubt. Christina is passionate about empowering women to step into the life they deserve, and I cannot wait, you guys, for you to hear from her. So with that, Christina, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the Girls for Greatness podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here.
Yes. Well, tell us, for those, I know we just chatted about this, but tell us where you're coming at us from in the world, and maybe even a little about what led you into the world of hypnotherapy and coaching.
Yeah. Well, first, I'm in sunny Southern California and looking out the window, it's nice and blue and sunny.
Yay.
So in January. And, this is my second career, and it is an interesting journey that got me here. I had a 30-year corporate career as a VP of sales and marketing and working mom, flying around the country, hustle. And, was successful and have a lot of things that I was really proud of. But I hit a wall. I hit a health wall, a mental wall, emotional wall, had a divorce, and just got to a place where I really felt inside I had a bigger purpose and had no idea it would lead to hypnotherapy, but I did trust that, I was just here to do something more than, working in sales and higher education and marketing.
Sure.
I knew there was a voice inside, and through self-discovery, going on retreats, healing my own wounds, just trying to figure out who am I and what is my purpose, and stop listening to those conditions and things that made me think if I worked harder, I'd be happier. If I bought prettier clothes, I'd, be more accepted, all the things that we all do. And along that journey, I stumbled upon this subconscious mind concept. And, I had always been in spirituality and mindfulness and meditation and dabbled in it. But when I read about and heard about hypnotherapy, I sort of put it in the back pocket for about 3 years, to be honest. And then when I said, I'm going to get serious here and figure out what I want to do with my life, I opened up a journal, and on it, I had written 3 years before hypnotherapy and Marissa Peer, who I studied under, RTT hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy and Marissa Peer are going to change my life. That was 3 years before. And I opened it and I said, okay, this is a sign from the universe. This is it. And I enrolled in the school that day and said, and yes, I had a hypnotherapy session because I was that curious, but it was really a leap of faith that it was a very pure, simple way, I think, to find out, why do we do the things we do? Why do we think that way? Why do we feel that way? And why is it so hard to change? Why do we have so much resistance? And how can we just stop all the noise and the racket and the 12 steps and the 5 steps and the 4 things and all the noise? And what is the best way, most efficient way, and the real truth about how our mind works and what that voice inside is telling us? Because deep down, I know that we can heal ourselves. We have the answers inside. We're divinely connected. Whatever your higher power is, we are all born enough. We're not born with low self-esteem. We're
Yeah.
not born with anxiety. We're not born feeling like I'm fat and those things. So what can we do to get to it? And I felt hypnotherapy was like, wow, I struck gold.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you said you studied under Marissa Peer, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Was that like her program then that kind of taught, was that the coaching program or was that like the hypnotherapy piece?
She's from London and she has created what's called rapid transformational therapy, or RTT hypnotherapy. If you ever watch Mind Valley, she has a lot of meditations and she's all over YouTube with a lot of free content. That's wonderful. And yes, her method of hypnotherapy is unique in that it gets to the root of what is truly going on. So, there is hypnotherapy where you can listen to audio recordings and through powerful language and messages, you can make a change. But this takes it an extra step and finds out, well, wait, why are you thinking that or doing that in the very first place? When did that first start? Let's go back there, dig that up, find out why. Because when you understand why, you have the power, you have the personal power to say, oh, well, I was 5, I was 10, I was 20. I can see why I thought that and felt that and believed that. And now I have the power to change it. And then we know through neuroplasticity and certain things in hypnotherapy, what changes it. But if we don't get to the why's still down there. If you don't fix that, it's like putting a Band-Aid on something. So. Right.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I just wanted to ask you about Marissa because I've heard her speak twice at 2 different conferences, and she was just phenomenal. She was phenomenal. She talked a lot about, I believe when I saw her, it was a lot about paying attention to what we say to ourselves, like telling ourselves good stuff and not bad stuff, because your mind, believes, whatever you're going to tell it. So whether it's good or bad. And, so I just remember that.
Yeah. And what I love about Marissa, I trained with her live. And then because she also has a home in Los Angeles, I've met with her personally in little gatherings of maybe 10 people and having dinner with her and her husband and so on. And she's the same on stage as she is off stage in that she is driven to let us know, the way you speak to yourself matters. And this is why. And I love that she's the same on stage as she is at a backyard barbecue in LA. And,
for sure.
Her presence is very powerful. So I feel that was on a vision board I had actually.
That's so awesome.
And I have a picture of me with her going, what? I'm in a house in LA with her. This is great.
Oh my gosh. That's so great. You see, you manifested it.
Yeah.
Totally. Your past, your journey has come into play and has played a huge role, right? In just what you're doing and why you're doing it. And, your own journey, kind of breaking it down and kind of looking specifically at the subconscious. I'm curious for you, how you would describe, I guess, maybe just what's at the root of it. Like how do you view that? Like the subconscious mind, what's at I know it's probably different for everyone. Obviously our own minds, but for you, how would you describe that? And maybe even how it affects our everyday life?
Yeah, it's the question. So, our mind, the first thing we have to understand is it doesn't care if the way we think or what we do is right or wrong or good or bad. It's there to keep us alive and safe. So, and our subconscious mind is really is conditioned to believe whatever it thinks at that moment is going to keep us safe and alive. So, for example, and our subconscious mind, by the time we're 7, many of our programs are already in our subconscious mind. So think of it like a vault. It's closed. It can open again through certain hypnotherapy techniques, other techniques as well that get us in a higher brainwave, delta, and theta brainwaves and so on, allow us to access it. And that's why children learn so much when they're young is, they don't go to school to learn how to talk and walk, and they just do it, right? They learn and they soak things up. They can learn so many languages, but we're also all conditioned. And it doesn't mean we have good parents or bad parents, or, the world is bad or good. We are conditioned, but it's really about the meaning that we attach to things is how our subconscious is conditioned. So for example, your parents or your caretaker can pick you up late from a soccer game or soccer practice, and you're left and it's starting to get dark. The meaning you attach is they don't love me. They love my brother more than me. They always pick me up late. Or the meaning you attach is, gosh, mom worked so hard. I know she had to stop and get dinner on the way, or, and if you have
Right.
siblings, you probably had dinner with them and you're like, did you grow up in the same house I did? Because that's not how I felt about that. That's not how I interpreted that. That wasn't my experience as a teenager. And even if you have your own children, you hear them interpret things differently than how we thought that, that holiday was fantastic and they felt it was something else.
Right.
So, it's the meaning we attach to it. So with our subconscious mind, its primary job is to keep us safe. So when we understand it's not there to harm us or hurt us or do anything like that, it's really then allows you to be more curious and allows you to look at your anxiety or your low self-esteem or the fact that you're blocking love from a different place. And we can go in and ask the mind these questions. What is the root cause and reason for this anxiety, for the fact that you keep dating people and self-sabotaging love, or people that are not accessible or open or available to, express their emotions, and you want a deeper connection, yet everyone you date doesn't express themselves, or you spend money like it's going out of style and you're wondering why you can't save, but you're sabotaging, blah, blah, blah. So we can go in and we can find out. And oftentimes low self-esteem keeps us from being visible, keeps us from going out and failing.
Right.
Self-sabotage is all about not feeling good enough. So we get to find out and get really curious. So that's great. Kind of the beginning of it, but we can peel the onion much deeper.
Right. No. Yeah, sure. That makes sense. No, it's a good explanation. So I guess when I hear all that, I think to myself too, like, okay, so what about the person who's listening is like thinking I have, this or this that I'm working on, or this or this that I'm struggling with. And how, I guess, would you recommend that someone kind of starts to examine that part of maybe why they're doing what they're doing, or why, let's even just take the example of self-sabotage, which was one of the things I wanted to kind of bring in, because I think a lot of times we do that and we think, oh, it's just the way I am, or it's just, I just have this one issue. I just have this addiction, or I just have this tendency to do this. And so like, what's a good starting point, and how do you tackle that with your clients?
I tackle it a few different ways. We see where the person is at, and sometimes people are ready to dive in and let's go find out exactly what's in the subconscious, and other times we need to focus on quieting and just loving yourself more, and getting a client to get some quiet time and self-reflection time. And a really good exercise is just to write, I am feeling blank because, and nobody has to read it. So I am feeling blank because, and start to recognize, what are your patterns? What are you noticing? I'm starting to feel like nobody ever listens to me, no matter what I do, no matter how hard I work, no matter the great dinners I make, nobody appreciates me. What are you feeling? And because, and it starts to show a pattern, just so that you can get more curious and understand, because we are a mirror for what's going on in our life, or a vibrational match for that. So we're going to get more of whatever we feel. So if we feel that we're not appreciated and we feel unworthy of unconditional love, guess what? We're going to get that. If we feel like no matter what I do, there's just no one's going to love me unconditionally, there's always a condition, that's what we're going to get, because that's our mind is programmed to always look for the evidence to back up our thoughts. And so what are our thoughts? Because you will find evidence to back it up. It's like, see, I knew you didn't really love me. See, I knew you didn't really want to go spend time with me yesterday. You just did it because you felt like you had to. Or, see, I knew I couldn't work out for a whole week straight. I have no willpower. So our mind is going to look for the evidence to back up however we feel. So I am feeling because just starts that. But asking the feeling, how old is the feeling? How old do you think I am? is really, really powerful, because very, very often, I would say almost 95% of the time, the feeling thinks you're either half your age or under 10. And it's just a big eye opener for us. There's inner child work, there's inner parent work, of course, so many things. But when you can ask just yourself, you don't need a hypnotherapist, you don't need anyone else to ask, is how old do you think I feel? Or is this feeling familiar? Oh yeah, I felt this way when I was 12. I felt this way in high school. I felt this way in elementary school. And it just starts to allow us to see programs, and then helps you pay attention to, how do you talk to yourself? How do you talk to yourself? What are you saying? Because the words and the pictures, if you've heard Marissa talk about it, the words and the pictures and the images that we put in our mind have the greatest impact. And the mind cannot accept two conflicting thoughts. So we have a positive lane and a negative lane. Pick a lane, because you can't have two conflicting thoughts. You cannot say, I want love, but I don't have enough time for it. I want to be organized, but I put 47 things on my schedule and I only have time for 10. The mind can't accept conflicting thoughts. Is self-love a priority? Okay, well then, do you fit it in, or do you just say that? So pick a lane.
That's good. That's great advice. I love that. How old do you think I feel? I mean, that's a great question, because I can even think of things that I, in my own life would say and think, wow, that goes way back.
Right.
Way back.
And the subconscious is programmed to keep going back to what's familiar. And so that's why when I say look at the patterns, because the mind will always want to go back to what's familiar and keep you away from what's unfamiliar. So we beat ourselves up when we want to change a behavior or a thought, or, create something really new and exciting in our life. Why is it so darn hard to create, this self-love routine? Or why can't I stick to it? Because it's not familiar. It doesn't feel safe. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you don't want to love yourself. It's not because you haven't read the books and know that self-love is important. That's not why. We all know.
Right.
It's because it's not familiar. And we have to find out first why, what's blocking it. And then we have to make it familiar. So you have to say it to yourself many, many times. You have to breathe it in. You have to embrace it, embody it over and over and over until your mind says, okay, yeah, self-love. Okay, yeah, this thing is safe. And doing that other thing isn't familiar anymore. It's not going to go on in one day and 3 days go, okay, sure, self-esteem, that's for you.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And it really is a great, I think, explanation as to why I think so many people, I mean, just hearing you talk, and I talk a lot about the importance of self-love. I do. And I obviously think it's very important, but I think a lot of people must sometimes hear that and they think, well, that's impossible, or that's, they hear it and they know it, but yeah. But like you said, I think it's getting to the root of, well, why are you rejecting yourself, or why are you constantly finding a case against yourself and what you want to do or what you want to achieve? I think that's really something that I know I can relate to, and I'm sure others can relate to.
Oh yeah, we all can.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think one of the other things I really like that I know you've talked a lot about is how limiting beliefs, or the things that block us, how that's a real detriment to becoming a healthier version of ourselves. And I think, like, here we are in January, February, maybe when this airs, but there's many out there that are trying really hard to, but whether it's to work out more, or to meditate, or to eat better, or all of the things, it's just, I think that's a huge thing that we're all obviously all wanting to dive into many times, is becoming a healthier version of ourselves. And
right,
figuring out how those two tie together can be, I'm sure, difficult.
The biggest thing I guess the modality of hypnotherapy or Reiki or a lot of the work I do is identifying I work primarily with women, but I work with men as well. I have 2 boys, so I'm so grateful
Sure.
I get to work with
Sure.
their friends, and it's just this
Sure.
expansion. But this mindset that we are born enough, we are born approved of, our cups are all full. Okay. So we're loved, approved, the cup of safety and control. And, babies are not born thinking they're fat or they don't look good enough. Don't take my picture today. I'm not worthy of that. These are conditions, and conditions can change. And that's the beauty. That is the beauty. And it doesn't downplay trauma. It doesn't downplay any of that. I am a personal, have experience with that. And so I understand it is a daily thing. It's not even though I have the tools, it's still alive. It's still alive.
Sure.
So, but when you start to embrace that your cups are full, then you start to notice where you're loaning your cups out to everybody else to fill up for you. And that is when life gets really exhausting. That's when, this people pleasing or this self-love thing seems like, well, I don't have time. I'm a mother of 3 and I work and I have this and I have that. And that would be selfish. And I look at that other mom and who goes to the gym every day and looks so pretty every day. And she must just be selfish. And, she must not cook dinner every night. And she has more money than me. She must do HelloFresh or something. I don't know. So, our mind tells us these stories, and,
Right.
and people pleasing and putting ourselves last is really just because we are giving our cups up to everybody else to make us feel good enough. And trust me, they don't want to fill up your cup. And it's exhausting for everybody. When you pull back your feelers and you're enough, it's not that hard to fill up your own cups. It's not that hard to put yourself first and to know, gosh, when I fill up my cup, I am so much more calm. I'm rested. I'm excited about life. It's raining outside, but things feel good. I'm in control. I put achievable things that I feel I can do today. I praise myself for what I've done. I don't, I say, yes, I need to work on these things. It's completely different when you're already enough, instead of, because have you ever, when I was in the corporate world, I always, work. If more work made you happier, trust me, I would have won that badge. If more people pleasing makes you like mom of the year, I got that trophy too. But it doesn't, because that's not what makes you happy. That's not it.
Right.
If you're always chasing the carrot, you can't get the carrot, because then we're not the hustler. Then we're not, it doesn't work. It's a constant cycle of, I got to keep chasing, right?
That's true. Do you feel like this is going to be personal. Just hearing you talk about that made me think of something, I'm definitely, in that realm, and that type of person of a type A, constantly go, wanting to be better all the time. I just didn't say chasing the next thing, but just kind of like moving on to the next thing. And how can I do this? So I think my question is, do you feel like there's I don't know how to describe it, like maybe a fine line or like a way to bring together the idea of I am enough as I am in this moment, and yet I have these things that I want to better in my life and get better at? Because I think sometimes those two people, either they think it's got to be one way and not this way. Like if I'm enough, then I don't need to work on anything else.
You're right. Yeah.
So
it's
I'm curious
such
how you look at that.
That's a great point. And some people refer to it as, how do I balance the masculine and the feminine energy?
Yeah.
Or if I'm too toxic masculine and, go, can I be this loving mom at the same, if I'm loving mom, how do I work and get it all done too? So that balance of it, but absolutely every one of us, when we're fully balanced, and I'm speaking from a woman's point of view, but a man as well, but we have all these, these archetypes within us. And when they're balanced is when, you can start the new business, you can do all these things. So, we have the boss archetype. We have to have structure. We have to have a plan. We have to take action and momentum and have discipline. And we have to have the masculine energy as the container that holds, the water in this water container.
Right.
But feminine energy is really receiving. I mean, you have the structure to earn the money, but if you don't feel worthy of receiving it, you're going to create blocks in your business to
Right.
not get it. You're going to attract clients that don't pay. You're going to attract whatever it is, whatever. You're going to attract love that doesn't stick. And so the feminine energy. So there's a goddess side of us, or the self-love part of us, that does have to exist simultaneously. And when you hold the container of, I can have self-love, I make time for self-love. When I'm in self-love, I am not the boss. When I'm in my mom archetype, my mom archetype, my mother archetype knows how to take care of kids, wash dishes, and do dinner. She's not taking care of my business right now. And the mom archetype can't really come into my business and run my business because she really wants to go put a load of laundry in right now. And I got to create my content for the month and do these other things. Right. So it's when we start to try to work from the wrong archetype and not respect that we can have this self-love, and we can have this mom archetype, we can have this boss archetype, and we can even have a badass, or whatever you want to call it, version of us that is like, I want more. I want to do this. I want to do that. I got a little fire in my belly here to create and be a leader. And so it's just knowing what are those pieces and then balancing it all. Because when we're lopsided, we feel it, and our families feel it, and our whole life sees it. So I do work with clients to see, where are you lopsided? And in the area that we're deficit in, let's see what we can do to balance it out without you worrying that you'll take away from this other powerful side of you. Because you can still be powerful and in that boss energy and be feminine and open to receiving it. And actually you need to be, otherwise you won't have, the success or the thriving business. And if you don't feel you're worthy to receive. Right. Yeah, that's a great point. That makes sense, or?
Yeah, that's a great point. No, I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. All such great things. I know that I could go on and keep asking a bunch of questions, but for sake of time, I am going to kind of wrap up with a couple of questions that I ask all my listeners, and we'll kind of wrap up from there. But what are 3 words that best describe who you really and truly are?
Spiritual, vulnerable, and connected, just connected to people and experiences, and as an empath.
Love that.
That's I feel definitely.
Yes. Love that. So important. And what's one thing you are currently working to improve on in your own life?
I talk about balance, and I'm just, human like everybody else. So balance, balance. And every day, it's a check-in with myself, and where am I out of balance, and where do I need more balance? And okay, I need to focus on my health a little bit more, my spirituality. And sometimes my spirituality actually is taking up too much space, and I need to back that off. That's actually recently. And I need to ramp up my physical fitness and health and energy. And, just balancing it all, just checking in.
Sure. That's awesome. Yeah, I can see that for anyone.
Sure.
I feel like there's always a balancing, act. So what is one thing you are proud of yourself for being or doing currently?
I just always evolving. And I'm in a medical intuitive program right now. So in June, I'll be a certified medical intuitive. And, just even saying that, it just is like, oh gosh, should I even say that? So it's, when you put yourself out there, I'm just really proud to put myself out there in things that are scary, but they're what I want. And so it's, having the courage to still have that little flutter in my belly, but I'm going to walk toward what makes me nervous. But in my soul, I know that's the right thing and what I want to do.
That's awesome. Well, Christina, I've totally loved this conversation. like I said, I know that there's many other things I could have dove into and asked, but I really appreciate you, especially touching on just the importance of our subconscious and how I think that's such a huge thing to pay attention to, an important thing to pay attention to in our life. And how I think a lot of times it's something that gets dismissed and we, just kind of merely are working with, what we see in front of us or what we feel in the moment, but not slowing down enough to really dive into that piece, which I think is so important. And yet, like you said, a great first step is just slowing down and paying attention.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And we can change it. We can change our subconscious. So we have the power.
Exactly. Those programs. So thank you so much again for this. It's wonderful. And I have no doubt that you're making a huge impact in the world and will continue to do so. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh, thank you, Delia.
Well, I am so grateful to have had the chance to talk to Christina today. I loved our conversation about the subconscious programming and all the things that go along with it. I know this whole concept of the subconscious mind playing a role in our actions, our thoughts, and how we live our lives can all be a bit confusing and even a little hard to grasp. However, I think Christina gave us all some great tips on how to start to get in touch with our subconscious mind, the underlying layer that really, my friends, plays a much bigger role in our lives than we would often like to admit. Christina, for starters, encouraged all of us to start with slowing down enough to get quiet, to tune into our own thoughts. I have said it so many times on here, mainly because this starting point is where I myself struggle. Slowing down is often the start, though, to us acknowledging anything about ourselves. And I loved the prompt Christina proposed we focus in on to get us to acknowledge what is truly going on inside of us. That prompt, I am feeling blank because. So good. I also really felt challenged by Christina's words around how we so often look for evidence to support our thoughts. And the thing is, my friends, as Christina pointed out, that evidence can be positive or negative. If we are filling our minds with negativity, with thoughts about how we are not enough, about how we don't measure up, we will find evidence to support that. And the opposite or flip side of that is true as well. If we tell ourselves positive, the good stuff, if we are constantly cheering ourselves on, we'll in turn find evidence in our lives to support that line of thinking. The bottom line, my friends, is that it is so incredibly important to be kind to yourself, to watch the words you speak to yourself, to be conscious of the voice inside your head and what is going on between your own two ears. That fact alone plays into so much. Once again, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone listening in today. It means so much to have you all here. It is such a huge honor to bring you this podcast. And please be sure to check the show notes for all the info on Christina and for all the information on how you can find and follow her on social media. And if you liked what you heard today, my friends, please do me a huge favor and spread the love by sharing this podcast with someone you know who could benefit from Christina's wisdom. Finally, my friends, know what a gift you are to this world just as you are. What you have to offer this world matters. You matter. Your greatness matters. And you are worthy of doing whatever it takes to live the life you really and truly were meant to live.